6 months after the Grey Death first appeared, the galaxy was quiet again. But it was a different kind of quiet. On every world, the survivors were rebuilding. And on every world, humans were helping. Admiral Subin Han stood on the bridge of the new flagship Unity. The ship was built by humans and aliens working together. It had Storian strength, Nexari technology, and human adaptability all in one design. Report from the medical teams, called researcher Wu Jin Lim from his station. Go ahead, Subin said. The treatment is working. We have saved 90% of the aliens who were still alive when we found them. The Grey Death is almost gone from the galaxy. Subin smiled. It had been hard work, but they had done it. Humans had developed medicine based on their own biology. The treatment taught alien bodies how to heal and change like human skin did. Any word from the new Galactic Council? Subin asked. They are ready for the ceremony, Wu Jin replied. Every surviving species will be there. The ceremony was held at Omega Terminus, the same station where humans had first met the Federation. But everything was different now. The Great Hall had been rebuilt. Instead of separate areas for each species, everyone sat together. Commander Hyunwoo walked into the hall wearing a new uniform. It was still blue, but now it had symbols from every species on it. He was no longer just a human commander. He was the first leader of the new Galactic Council. The aliens who had once looked down on humans now stood up to honor him. But they looked different too. The surviving Saurids had new scales that were softer and could heal. The Nexari had learned to make their crystal bodies flexible. Even the rock-like Storians had developed skin that could change and adapt. Friends, Hyunwoo said as he reached the center of the hall. We are here to remember what we learned and to plan what comes next. Ambassador Kaivan stepped forward. He looked much better now. His new scales were smaller and softer than his old ones. They could bend without breaking and heal when damaged. 6 months ago I said humans were weak, Kaivan announced to the hall. I said your soft skin made you helpless. I was wrong about everything. He looked at Hyunwoo with respect. Strength is not about having armor that cannot break. True, strength is about surviving when everything breaks. Humans taught us this. High Counselor Vexmar stood next. Her crystal body now had gentle curves instead of sharp edges. Light moved through her more smoothly, and small cracks could heal themselves. We built our civilization on the idea that perfection meant never changing, she said. Her voice was softer now, like gentle music instead of breaking glass. We thought eternal crystal was better than living flesh. But eternal things cannot grow. They cannot learn. They cannot survive. General Thraknor was next. The big Storian was smaller now, but he moved more easily. His rock-like skin had learned to be both strong and flexible. Humans showed us that bending is not breaking, he rumbled. They showed us that healing is stronger than never being hurt. They showed us that soft can be harder than stone. Queen Zeska clicked her approval. Her new shell was lighter and could repair itself. The humans saved our children when our armor could not. They saved our future when our strength failed us. Dr. So Young stood up from her seat. She now wore the uniform of the head of Galactic Medical Research. We learned together, she said. You taught us about technology and space travel. We taught you about healing and change. Together, we are stronger than anyone was alone. Captain Taman, now Admiral of the Joint Defense Fleet, added, The Grey Death was not our enemy. Fear was our enemy. Fear of being different. Fear of being weak. Fear of change. But what is our future? Asked a young Aquari diplomat. Researcher Wu Jin activated a hologram in the center of the hall. It showed a map of the galaxy with new areas marked in bright colors. Beyond our galaxy are others, Wu Jin explained. Other species, other worlds, other challenges. Some will be friendly, some will not. Some will be stronger than us. Some will be different than anything we have seen. And when we meet them, Hyunwoo said, we will not judge them by their armor or their weapons or their skin. We will judge them by their hearts and their minds. Engineer Da-Yun brought up technical displays. Our new ships use adaptive technology, They can change and heal like living things. They are built by all our species working together. Medic Jin Ho showed medical data. Our new medicine combines the best of every species. Storian strength, Nexari precision, Saurid healing, Kivari teamwork, and human adaptability. Most importantly, said Scout Jaseok, we explore together. No species goes alone into the unknown. We share the dangers and the discoveries. Ambassador Kai Ven raised his clawed hand. I have a proposal for the new council. Everyone turned to listen. Let us create a new law, Kai Ven said. When we meet new species, we will not measure them by their defenses. We will not judge them by their appearance. We will give them time to show us who they really are. Seconded, said Vexmar. Immediately. Agreed, rumbled Thraknor. Yes, clicked Queen Zeska. One by one, every species in the hall agreed. The survival index was officially dead. In its place, they created the Understanding Protocol. As the ceremony ended, Hyunwoo looked around the hall. Humans sat next to Saurids. Nexari worked with Storians. Kivari shared ideas with Aquari. The galaxy had learned to value difference instead of fearing it. Admiral Subin, Hyunwoo called. Are our exploration fleets ready? Ready, sir. 5 joint ships with mixed crews from all species. Destination, the Andromeda Galaxy. Good. It is time to see what else is out there. Dr. Yuna Bei, now head of Alien Relations, smiled. What if we find species even stranger than us? Then we will learn from them, Hyunwoo replied. And hopefully, they will learn from us. As the new ships launched from stations across the galaxy, their crews were excited. They carried no weapons of conquest, only tools of discovery. They sought no empire, only understanding. The humans who had once been called the weakest species in the galaxy now led the strongest alliance ever created. Not because they had defeated anyone, but because they had saved everyone. In the command center of the Unity, Hyunwoo looked at the stars ahead. Somewhere out there were species they had never imagined. Some might have armor stronger than Storian stone. Some might have weapons sharper than Saurid claws. Some might have bodies more perfect than Nexari crystal. But none of that mattered anymore. The galaxy had learned that true strength came not from what could not break, but from what could heal. Not from what never changed, but from what could adapt. Not from standing alone, but from standing together. And humans, with their soft skin and changing hearts, would help teach the universe that being different was not being weak. It was being alive. 6 months had passed since the meeting on Nexus Prime. The aliens thought they had solved the human problem. They were wrong. Deep inside the Lunar Research Station, hidden on the dark side of Earth's moon, Dr. Park Mina stared at her computer. Screens. Numbers and charts filled every display, but one image made her heart beat faster. It was a picture of the Devourer's Gate, the massive black hole that sat at the center of their galaxy like a hungry monster. Show me the data again, she said to Dr. Cho Ji-soo, a young woman with bright eyes who never seemed to sleep. Dr. Cho pressed some buttons. New pictures appeared on the screen. The probe stayed alive for 12 hours this time, she said excitedly. Look at these readings. The gravity patterns are not natural. Dr. Park Mina leaned closer. She had been studying black holes for 20 years, but this was different. It is too organized, she whispered. Too perfect. At the engineering station, Yoon Daeho was building something that looked like a metal spider. His hands were always busy, always making new tools and machines. The probe's hull should have been crushed, he said without looking up from his work, but something protected it. What kind of something? Asked Lieutenant Han Sora from across the room. She was a pilot who had volunteered to control the dangerous probe missions. Her flying skills were better than any computer. I think, Dr. Park Mina said slowly, something built the Devourer's Gate. The room went quiet. Everyone stopped working and looked at her. Built it? Dr. Cho asked. You mean it is not natural? Look at the measurements, Dr. Park Mina said, pointing to her screens. The energy flows in perfect circles. The gravity field has layers like an onion. Natural black holes do not work this way. Yundeho put down his tools. If someone built it, who were they? And why? Dr. Park Mina pulled up more data. For weeks, she had been studying every probe mission, every strange reading, every impossible result. I call them the architects, she said. They were here long before any of the current alien races existed. Lieutenant Han Sora walked over to look at the screens. What happened to them? Gone, Dr. Park Mina said sadly. But they left something behind. She pressed a button and a new image appeared. It showed the inside of the black hole where space bent in impossible ways. Hidden in the twisted light was a structure, a giant ring made of unknown metal spinning in the darkness. It is a machine, Dr. Cho whispered. Inside the black hole. Not just a machine, Dr. Park Mina said. A test. The team spent the next 3 hours studying the data. The structure was huge, bigger than Earth's moon. It had power sources that made alien technology look like candles compared to the sun, but most important, it was waiting. Waiting for what? Yundeho asked. Dr. Park Mina pulled up the final piece of data. It was a signal, weak but clear, coming from inside the Devourer's gate. When the computers translated it, the message was simple: prove your worth. Lieutenant Han Sora laughed, but it was not a happy sound. The architects built a test at the center of the galaxy, and we are supposed to take it. Not just us, Dr. Park Mina said. Anyone brave enough to try, but for millions of years, no one has been brave enough. Dr. Cho was reading through old alien records on her computer. The Velkari have stories about the gate, she said. They call it the end of all things, and tell their children never to go near it. The Zephyrians think it is cursed, Yundeho added, checking his own files. Their holy books say it will destroy anyone who approaches. The Nauthi built their entire civilization in the opposite direction, Lieutenant Han Sora said. They think the gate is evil. Dr. Park Mina nodded. All the advanced races fear it. They are too comfortable, too safe. They will not risk everything. For a chance at something greater. But we will? Dr. Cho asked. We already have, Dr. Park Mina said, pointing to the probe data. We have sent 17 probes closer to the gate than any alien ship has ever gone. We have learned its secrets, while they hide behind their rules. Yundeho picked up his tools again and started working faster. If we are going to take their test, we need better ships. Ships that can survive things that would destroy alien technology. What makes you think our ships can survive where theirs cannot? Lieutenant Han Sora asked. Yundeho smiled and held up his metal spider creation. Because we build things differently. Alien ships are perfect for perfect conditions. But space is not perfect. Space is dangerous, unpredictable, and mean. He activated his device. The metal spider opened its legs and started walking across the table. Our machines work when everything goes wrong. We plan for failure. We build backups for our backups. When alien ships break, they stop working. When our ships break, they keep flying. Dr. Cho was getting excited. And we adapt. Aliens follow rules and procedures. When something unexpected happens, they panic. Humans improvise. We also take risks, Lieutenant Han Sora added. Aliens calculate everything perfectly before they act. By the time they finish calculating, we have already solved the problem and moved on. Dr. Park Mina felt hope growing in her chest. The architects built their test for a species like us. Not the most advanced, not the most powerful, but the most willing to try. Over the next month, the team worked day and night. Yundeho designed new ships based on the probe data. These ships were smaller than alien vessels, but they were built like Earth's submarines, tough, flexible, and able to work in hostile conditions. Dr. Cho created computer systems that could think and adapt instead of just following programs. When something went wrong, these computers would find new solutions instead of shutting down. Lieutenant Han Sora trained with the new ship designs, learning to fly in conditions that would terrify alien pilots. She practiced flying blind, flying with broken engines, flying when gravity went in impossible directions. Dr. Park Mina studied the architect's signal more carefully. Hidden in the simple message, "Prove your worth," were instructions. The test had 3 parts: wisdom, courage, and sacrifice. Wisdom to understand what must be done, she explained to the team. Courage to do it even when afraid. Sacrifice to put something greater before yourself. "And if we pass?" Dr. Cho asked. Dr. Park Mina looked at the images of the massive structure inside the black hole. "Then we inherit what the architects left behind. Technology beyond anything the current galaxy has ever seen." "When do we start?" Lieutenant Han Sora asked. "We already have," Dr. Park Mina said. "Commander Lee Hyun is building a fleet. In 3 months, we take the test that has waited millions of years for the right species to attempt it." Outside the research station, Earth continued its slow rotation. The humans on the surface had no idea that their species was about to attempt something that would change the galaxy forever. The aliens still thought humans were primitive and weak. They still laughed at human technology and human dreams. They had no idea that the humans were preparing to do what no advanced civilization had dared to try. Admiral Kang Minji stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching 50 human ships prepare for the most dangerous journey in galactic history. Each ship was small compared to alien vessels, but they were built for survival, not beauty. Their hulls were thick and strong, their engines could run on almost any fuel, and their crews knew how to fix anything that broke. "Final systems check," she called out to her fleet. Captain Baek Jinwoo's voice came through the communication system. "All ships ready, Admiral. Operation Starbreaker is a go." Admiral Kang Minji was 45 years old and had never lost a battle. She was short and thin, but her crews would follow her into hell if she asked. Today, she might be asking exactly that. "Remember," she said to all 50 ships, "we are not just flying to the Devourer's gate. We are flying to prove that humanity deserves a place among the stars." The fleet began moving. Behind them, Earth grew smaller until it was just another dot of light. Ahead of them lay the long journey to the galaxy's center, through hostile alien territory, past dangers that had destroyed ships much larger than theirs. For the first 3 weeks, the journey was quiet. The human ships flew in formation, their crews practicing emergency procedures and studying the data from Dr. Park Mina's probes. But on the 4th week, they entered Velkari space. "Unknown ships, you are trespassing," came the warning from a Velkari patrol fleet. 6 massive gray ships surrounded the humans, each one 3 times larger than the Indomitable. "This is Admiral Kang Minji of the Earth Defense Force," she replied calmly. "We are traveling to the galactic center on a peaceful mission." "Humans are not allowed in civilized space," the Velkari commander responded. "Turn back or be destroyed." Admiral Kang Minji smiled. "We respectfully decline." The battle began immediately. Velkari ships fired beams of pure energy that could melt mountains, but the human ships were already moving, spreading out in patterns that the aliens had never seen before. Captain Baek Jinwoo's ship darted between the energy beams like a fish swimming through lightning. "Use the asteroid field," Admiral Kang Minji ordered. "Make them come to us." The human fleet dove into a nearby field of floating rocks. The Velkari ships followed, confident in their superior firepower. That was their mistake. Specialist Oh Kyung-min had spent months studying Velkari technology. "Their shields are perfect," he had told the admiral, "but perfection has weaknesses. They cannot adapt to things they do not expect." The human ships started doing things that no sane pilot would try. They flew backwards while shooting forward. They used the asteroids as cover and as weapons, pushing giant rocks into the path of Velkari beams. When their engines were damaged, they kept flying on backup power that alien engineers said was impossible. Commander Nam Hyun led her boarding teams in the most insane part of the battle. When a Velkari ship got too close, human marines in spacesuits jumped from ship to ship, using magnetic boots to walk on enemy hulls while the battle raged around them. "This is madness," the Velkari commander said, as human soldiers cut holes in his ship's armor with simple tools. "No," Commander Nam Hyun replied as she stepped through the hole with her team. "This is human." The battle lasted 4 hours. When it was over, all 6 Velkari ships were disabled, and the human fleet continued on its journey. Not one human ship was destroyed, though many were badly damaged. Word of the battle spread quickly through alien communication networks. The species that had laughed at humans 6 months ago were no longer laughing. How did they defeat a Velkari? Patrol fleet, Admiral Korvex demanded when he heard the news. They fought like animals, his lieutenant reported. No strategy, no honor, just pure chaos. Admiral Korvex's rock-like face showed his anger. Send a message to all council races. The humans must be stopped before they reach the galactic center. But the human fleet was already deep in space, moving faster than anyone expected. Admiral Kang Minji had learned long ago that the best way to avoid a big fight was to be somewhere else when it started. 2 months later, the fleet reached the edge of Devourer's Gate territory. Here, space itself began to act strangely. Stars looked bent, time moved differently, and the darkness seemed to have weight. Sensor readings are impossible, reported the science officer on the Indomitable. Gravity is flowing in directions that do not exist. Admiral Kang Minji looked at the main screen. Ahead of them, the Devourer's Gate filled half the sky. It was beautiful and terrifying, like a giant eye made of twisted light and darkness. Take us closer, she ordered. That was when they appeared. 3 massive shapes came out of the black hole's edge, moving in ways that hurt to watch. They were the Guardians, ancient machines left by the architects to test anyone brave enough to approach their creation. Each Guardian was the size of a moon and made of materials that human scientists could not identify. They spoke without voices, their words appearing directly in the minds of everyone in the fleet. "Why do you come to the Gate of Endings?" the Guardians asked. Admiral Kang Minji stood up straight on her bridge. "We come to take the test left by the architects. We come to prove our worth." Many have said this. All have failed or fled. What makes you different, young ones? "We are human," Admiral Kang Minji said simply. The Guardians were quiet for a long moment. Then they spoke again. "The test has 3 parts. Wisdom to solve what cannot be solved, courage to go where death waits, sacrifice to give what cannot be replaced. Are you prepared?" "We are prepared," Admiral Kang Minji said. The first Guardian moved closer to the fleet. "Send your wisest to me. They must solve the puzzle that has waited since the architects died." Captain Baek Jinwoo volunteered immediately. His ship, the Brave Explorer, separated from the fleet and approached the Guardian. The massive machine opened like a flower, revealing a chamber full of strange lights and impossible shapes. For 6 hours, Captain Baek Jinwoo worked inside the Guardian, trying to understand puzzles that had been created by minds far more advanced than human or alien. But he had something the architects had hoped for: human creativity. Where alien minds would try to calculate perfect answers, Captain Baek Jinwoo looked for simple solutions. Where advanced species would build complex theories, he tried basic approaches. When one method failed, he tried another and another, never giving up. Finally, the puzzle was solved. The Guardians' lights turned from red to green. "Wisdom is proven," the Guardians announced. "Now comes courage." The second Guardian pointed toward the black hole itself. "Your bravest must enter the gate. They must go where space ends and time has no meaning. Many ships have tried. All were destroyed." Commander Nam Haeun stepped forward. "I will go." Her ship, the Fearless, was specially modified with Yundeho's best inventions. It had shields that could bend with gravity instead of fighting it, engines that could run on the strange energy near black holes, and a hull that was designed to flex without breaking. As the Fearless approached the event horizon, space began to tear apart around it. Colors that had no names flashed past the windows. The ship's metal groaned and twisted, but it held together. Inside the black hole, Commander Nam Haeun found the architect's structure, a ring of impossible metal spinning in the darkness. She flew through the ring, proving that humans could go where even the architect's Guardians could not follow. When she emerged, her ship was changed, glowing with new energy. "Courage is proven," the Guardian said. Now came the hardest part. "The final test requires sacrifice," the third Guardian announced. "One of you must join with our systems, becoming part of the gate forever. They will live, but never again in the way they understand life. Who will make this choice? Specialist Oh Kyungmin stepped forward before anyone could stop him. I will. Kyungmin. No. Admiral Kang Minji said. There has to be another way. There is not. Specialist Oh Kyungmin said with a sad smile. This is what I was trained for. This is why I am here. He entered the third guardian and his consciousness merged with the ancient systems. In that moment he became something new. Part human, part machine, part of the galaxy's greatest mystery. Sacrifice is proven, the guardian said. You have passed the test. The architect legacy is yours. The human fleet was suddenly surrounded by light as technology older than any current civilization awakened to serve its new guardians. Light poured through the human fleet like liquid fire. Each ship began to change, their hulls growing stronger, their engines becoming something beyond human understanding. Admiral Kang Minji watched in amazement as the Indomitable transformed. Around her. What is happening to us? Asked her science officer. Through the communication system, Specialist Oh Kyungmin's voice answered, but it sounded different now, older, wiser, carrying the knowledge of millions of years. The architect technology is merging with your ships. You are becoming something new. The transformation took 3 hours. When it was finished, the human fleet looked the same on the outside, but inside they had become the most advanced ships in the galaxy. They could fold space to travel instantly between stars. Their weapons could disable enemy fleets without killing anyone. Their shields could stop anything the current galaxy could build. Test the new systems, Admiral Kang Minji ordered. Captain Baek Jinwoo's ship disappeared and reappeared on the other side of the solar system in less than a second. Spacefold drive working perfectly, he reported with excitement in his voice. Commander, Nam Haeun tested the weapons on a nearby asteroid. Instead of destroying it, the beam simply made it stop moving, frozen in space like a statue. Non-lethal weapons operational, she said. Admiral Kang Minji smiled. Time to go home. We have work to do. The journey back to Earth took only minutes, instead of months. The human fleet simply stepped through folded space, appearing in Earth's orbit like magic. But they were not alone. Waiting for them was the largest alien fleet ever assembled. Ships from all 12 council races floated in formation around Earth. Valkyrie battleships, Zephyrian energy carriers, Nauthi deep space vessels, and others. Nearly 1,000 alien ships had come to destroy humanity before they could use their new power. Admiral Korvex's voice boomed across space. Surrender now, humans. You have stolen technology that does not belong to you. Return it, and we will allow your species to live as servants. Admiral Kang Minji opened communications to the entire alien fleet. This is Admiral Kang Minji of the Human Defense Force. You are surrounding our homeworld. You have 10 minutes to leave our system. The aliens laughed. Admiral Korvex spoke again. You have 50 ships. We have 1,000. Your primitive minds cannot possibly operate architect technology properly. Prepare to be destroyed. 5 minutes, Admiral Kang Minji said calmly. The alien fleet began moving into attack position. Energy weapons charged, missile tubes loaded, shields activated. They were ready to destroy the human homeworld and everyone on it. Admiral Kang Minji waited until the last second. Then she said one word. Now. The human fleet moved like lightning made solid. One moment they were near Earth, the next they were scattered throughout the alien formation. 50 human ships appeared inside the enemy fleet, moving too fast for alien sensors to track. The battle was over before it began. Human ships used their new weapons to disable alien vessels without harming the crews inside. Valkyrie battleships simply stopped working, their crews unharmed but helpless. Zephyrian energy beings found themselves trapped in containment fields that felt like warm blankets. Nauthi ships were gently pushed away from Earth by invisible hands. In 12 minutes, every alien ship was disabled. Not one alien had been killed, but their entire fleet was powerless. Admiral Corvex found himself standing on the bridge of the Indomitable, somehow transported there by technology he could not understand. Around him stood the other alien commanders, all looking confused and afraid. "How?" was all Admiral Corvex could say. "Simple," Admiral Kang Minji replied. "We learned something you never did. True strength is not about destruction. It is about protection." She gestured to the main screen, which showed Earth floating peacefully below them. "You came here to destroy our world. Instead, you have given us the chance to show you what we really are." President Lim Suho's image appeared on the communication screen. He was a kind-looking man with gentle eyes, but his voice carried the authority of someone who spoke for an entire species. "Commanders of the Galactic Council," President Lim Suho said, "for too long you have ruled the galaxy through fear and force. You have kept younger species down while you grew comfortable in your power. That ends today." Admiral Corvex's rocky face showed his anger. "You cannot defeat all of us. There are hundreds of other fleets, thousands of worlds that will fight. You are right," President Lim Suho said. "We cannot defeat all of you, but we do not want to defeat you. We want to free you." Over the next 6 months, human fleets appeared throughout the galaxy. But they did not come as conquerors. They came as liberators. Fleet Admiral Jung Yuna led the attack on the Zephyrian slave worlds, where energy beings forced weaker species to mine crystals in dangerous conditions. The human ships surrounded the slave camps and offered the workers a choice: stay and work for fair wages or leave for new worlds where they could be free. Most chose freedom. Ambassador Shin Wujin negotiated with the Nauthi Empire, convincing them to release the small fish-like species they had enslaved for thousands of years. When the Nauthi refused, human ships simply made their slave ships stop working until they agreed. Director Hong Sulgi led teams of scientists who shared architect technology with species that had been considered too primitive by the old council. Worlds that had struggled to feed their people suddenly had technology that could turn deserts into gardens. The galaxy watched in amazement as humans used their incredible power not to rule, but to help. Some alien races tried to fight back. A group of Velkari warships attacked a human convoy, carrying medical supplies to a plague-stricken world. The human ships disabled the attackers in minutes, then sent medical teams to help the wounded Velkari crews. "Why do you help us?" asked a Velkari captain as human doctors treated his injuries. "We tried to kill you." "Because that is what humans do," replied Dr. Park Mina, who had volunteered for the medical mission. "We help those who need help, even if they do not like us." Slowly, the old system fell apart. Slavery ended not through war, but because slaves were offered better alternatives. Corrupt governments collapsed when their people saw what real freedom looked like. Ancient hatred between species dissolved when they found themselves working together toward common goals. The Galactic Council tried to meet one last time, but half their members had already joined the new human alliance. The other half sat in their crystal hall on Nexus Prime, arguing about how to fight an enemy that had already won by refusing to be an enemy. Admiral Corvex looked around the mostly empty hall and felt very old. "How did this happen?" he asked the few remaining delegates. The answer came from an unexpected source. Specialist Oh Kyung-min's voice filled the hall, speaking from the Devourer's Gate, where he had become one with the architect systems. "You lost because you forgot what the architects knew," he said gently. "True civilization is not about having the biggest weapons or the strongest shields. It is about lifting up those who have fallen, protecting those who cannot protect themselves, and sharing knowledge instead of hoarding it." His voice grew softer. "The architects built their test not to find the strongest species, but to find the kindest one. Humans passed not because they were perfect, but because they cared more about others than themselves." 1 year after the liberation began, President Lim Suho stood in the heart of the Devourer's Gate, which had been transformed into a great meeting place for all species. Representatives from 1,000 worlds worked together in the massive station, protected by human guardians who had inherited the architect's ancient duty. The galaxy was not perfect. There were still conflicts, still problems to solve, still species that preferred isolation to cooperation. But for the first time in millions of years, the strong protected the weak instead of enslaving them. Dr. Park Mina, now an old woman with silver hair, stood beside President Lim Suho as they watched young beings from dozens of species learning together in the station's schools. "The aliens were right about one thing," she said with a smile. "We were too young and primitive to join their civilization." President Lim Suho nodded. "So we built a better one." Outside the great station, space itself seemed brighter. The Devourers' gate, once feared as the end of all things, had become the beginning of something new. And at its heart, the species that had once been mocked for being different now ensured that being different was something to celebrate, not something to fear. The humans had conquered the galaxy's greatest mystery not through force, but through the simple act of caring. And that perhaps was the most human thing of all.